taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we're taking a look at two replays. The first replay we're taking a look at is Puddahead, and he is in his mini-Kazi. Now, this is a team battle, obviously. So, we are on straight. Now, they did make some changes to straight, actually, which I only realized once, I played the first few team battles there, because I assumed and expected the C point to be down by those little islands, right? Basically in the middle of the map in the south. But no, as we all know, that is not the case. Now the C cap zone is actually moved up a little more towards the island, and it's almost like the caps themselves are aligned diagonally along the map, so that can make this map a little more interesting. At least I think so. Because I definitely know on the few times that I have played this map and I started spawned in the south, it was a little disorientating at first, actually, to go over there to C and get it through my head that that was where C was and not, south in the center of the map there by those three little islands. But anyway, in the mini-Kazi. Now, Puddahead had told me, and I should have known, how good the mini-Kazi is in ranked battles. You will get tier 5 and 6 between ranks 20 and 15, I think. Maybe it's the beginning rank at 25 to 15. At rank 15, you jump up to tier 6 and 7. But anyway, at tier 5 and 6, my initial inclination is obviously to take out the Cleveland. I just figured that the Cleveland, it's a cruiser, it's a pretty damn good cruiser, so I was, rocking out in that thing. But I wasn't having much luck in team battles, because what was happening was, sure, I was, getting a lot of damage and getting a few kills here and there and, making a difference on one of the points. But at the end of the day, I just didn't have the stealth to really sneak around some of the enemies if I needed to and cap the bases that needed to be capped. Because a lot of the times you end up with teams who are playing really passively in these team battles, or you just get a team that is just completely uncoordinated, and you can just tell right at the beginning of the battle that this is a waste of time and I'm going to lose. I hate when that happens. So, Puddahead had mentioned his mini-Kazi and how, good it was, or how much luck he was having as well, just playing it in ranked battles, going in there, taking the caps. He was saying, and this battle is a prime example. He wasn't getting a bunch of kills, not doing a bunch of damage, but what he is doing is he's capping all the points. His teams are always winning because he's going in there as the destroyer to cap the points, which, yeah, so I tried out in my mini-Kazi, and I had been struggling to get off rank 16 since I started playing ranked battles this past weekend, actually. And then yesterday, as soon as I jumped over to the mini-Kazi, bam, I was able to, I think, 3 victories in a row, and I jumped up to rank 15 right away. So yeah, you definitely, if you have a mini-Kazi and you're half decent at it, I would definitely give it a consideration if you're, stuck in these, anything above 15 rank. If you're stuck there, try out the old mini-Kazi. I think you will be surprised just how well she does, as long as you're a competent mini-Kazi captain. That's pretty key. So anyway, we can see the Puddahead has made his way into the A cap zone. We're pushing now into B. In terms of the team, yeah, right, I know. It sucks because on the mini-map, you get the impression that the team isn't really here, right? They're sniping from the back. And that's the impression you get, and it's true. They basically are. There's no aircraft carriers in this battle, so there's no real need for the cruisers to be, stuck right up against the battleships as they are. That being said, though, if the majority of the team, like is happening here, in this situation, is staying in the back, and you're a cruiser captain, you kind of have to stay with those ships, even though you know that things might be going wrong and that this is, not good for us or the team or for the victory. You still kind of have to stay with those ships, don't you? Because if you're a cruiser and you just sort of jout off, yeah, I'll use jout, I don't know why, but anyway, if you go off on your own, right, say Puddahead here was in a Cleveland, for example, and he was in this Cleveland trying to get into this B cap like he's doing now in the mini-Kazi, he would definitely be spotted and killed quite quickly. So it's really, I mean, the destroyers are the ships that are definitely going to be getting into the cap zones and should be capping, right? Though that's a given. But it's really up to the battleship captains, and I hate leave something up to the battleship captains, because I mean, battleships are the most widely played game boat or ship in the game here. So that would mean that of the percentage of people who play battleships, there's a higher percentage of those people who are probably window lickers, we'll call them. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, and leaving something up to the battleship captains is really touch and go, especially at these higher ranks. You don't always necessarily have the most competent people playing with you. For example, the Nicholas captain we saw earlier, the first kill on the enemy team. No idea what that player was doing. Not a great play there at all. But yeah, it's up to the battleships to actually, get themselves into position and actually establish that battle line, that line of support that is close enough to be able to effectively defend your cruisers and allow the destroyers too to give them a little further coverage out there to even potentially go in there and cap some of these zones. But it doesn't always happen. In fact, in this particular battle, in the chat there was one battleship captain, the Fuzo captain, commenting on how many games this player has and how experienced the player is in the ship and la la la. Well, the Fuzo is actually, if we look on the minimap, that is the battleship right in front of Puddahead right now, who actually grounded himself on that island and decided to stay there for a little while and just hiding behind the island. Yeah, so just because you have a certain number of games in a ship or a certain number of games on your profile, I don't think that you can reference that and say that makes you a good player. No. No. You can have 10,000 games and have a 0 win rate. I've never seen it, but it could happen. So, number of games doesn't really mean a whole lot. If anything at all, the number of games and based on how the player is playing at this point in time, I would basically say that it means that this player is fairly dense. Because over 2,000 games in a Fuzo, still hasn't figured it out. Anyway. Puddahead was being cautious with his takeover of B, which is an excellent call, by the way. I mean, you can definitely see that the enemy has its force pretty much, just on the outskirts of B. I mean, there's Kirov, there's the Cleveland, there's a Fuzo. So we want to be fairly careful here. Oh, and the Nuremberg as well. So we want to be fairly careful, and you can see Puddahead as well, unlike the Nicholas captain at the beginning, he gets himself into the cap, slows his speed down so he doesn't just race forward into the enemies where they're going to spot him. At this point in time, he's in an excellent position to not only cap the base, but also take a look around at some of the enemies, right? Start judging, where are these enemies weak right now? Which one of these ships is basically going in a straight line, is relatively within the torpedo range, and is likely not to maneuver? It's probably going to be that Fuzo. But we'll have to see, because you can see that the Fuzo is driving away from Puddahead, right? So you need to keep in mind with your torpedoes, even though your torpedoes are really fast, if that ship you're firing on is 7 kilometers away from you and driving and sailing away from you, your torpedoes are going to run out of steam before they actually reach the target. It's bound to happen. Anyway, lining up torpedoes now on the Fuzo. We can see the Fuzo's just almost within range. We're still not spotted, really playing that distance, that magical 6 to 7 kilometer distance with the Minikaze here. Really playing that well, right? To sort of judge and see. And you can see again, the Fuzo, he's under fire, so the Fuzo's turning away again. So obviously, Fuzo's no longer going to be a viable target for us. It was right on the cusp of our torpedo range. Once the Fuzo decides to turn away, that obviously puts him out of the torpedo range and just going to make the shot not happen. So we have the Cleveland. The Cleveland is looking juicy at this point in time. Both caps have been taken, A and B, so that's fantastic. We just have C now to take as well, and Puddahead has capped both of those caps all on his own. Yes, none of his team were around. I know that he's only the destroyer, but you definitely could have more support, right? Finally, though, I mean, the Puddahead's allies are moving up now that, B is captured, and it does look like the enemies are being pushed back. We have some torpedoes in the water for the Fuzo. Unfortunately, though, the torpedoes, we just didn't give it enough lead on those torpedoes. You'll see what I'm talking about here once they reach the Fuzo. But still, it was an excellent play, the Cleveland. It was an excellent play, though, just judging the targets, right? But you can see, yeah, just not enough lead there on those torpedoes. But still, we we hit the Cleveland with 1 torpedo, so that is something. The Cleveland has taken a bunch of damage, and the allies behind us are going to be able to finish this Cleveland off without any issue. And in fact, there he goes. Fantastic. Only 2 enemy battleships remaining. We have an enemy Fuso, and we have 1 enemy Fuso and 1 cruiser. I believe the Kirov is still around, kicking around. Who knows? I'm probably wrong. I'm going to go with I'm wrong. Anyway, Puddahead here is now pushing into the sea cap. And this is something you really, really want to keep in mind in these team battles. In random battles, it is, at the end of the day, when you're playing, a 3-cap map like this, it is really about taking the caps and not so much about getting enemy kills. In random battles, though, you can get away with, sometimes get away with just, getting cap parity and then working on killing the rest of the enemy ships. I mean, that does work. But in team battles, in ranked battles, there is no, you can kind of get away with it bullshit. No, you have to get into these caps and you have to cap them. Even in this situation, you're going to see the one of the enemy ships, the enemy Fuso remaining, start begging in chat for the team to save him and whatnot. Even in this situation, you still want to cap all the cap zones, right? It's clear that victory is going to be ours and all that stuff, but you still want to cap. It's still really, really critical, because you just get yourself into a habit of always going in and making the cap zones your next objective, which is really the way that you should be playing. I mean, I understand that obviously this Fuso is in the range of, all of the allied ships behind Puddahead, and in this situation, if I was one of those cruisers with my battleships there and I see that my destroyer is in the last cap zone capping it, yeah, I'm setting sail for the last remaining enemy ship. But you do always want to keep those caps in mind. Now, that's exactly what Puddahead did here. Kept the caps in mind the whole time. That is really the objective of the destroyers in these ranked battles, is to take and hold the caps or control the caps. Because even if for whatever reason the enemy swung around and took the A cap, well, that's fine. We still have these 2 cap zones. You still have that advantage, right? So you're giving yourself more flexibility by ensuring that you're focused on the caps, and this is what you want to do. It doesn't happen very often, especially in the higher ranks, I will say that, and it makes it very frustrating to play for me anyway in the higher ranks, but slowly getting through it, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, we can really see here just how effective it was, to take the caps and really, I mean, the team was there. You can't necessarily say they weren't there, but you can speculate that if Puddahead wasn't so quick on taking all those caps, that the Allied team might not have been so quick to get in there. Anyway, Puddahead won, and you can see not a whole lot of damage done, not many hits or anything like that, but 3 full base captures, so 5,400 experience, puts him top of the team overall. So even if you're just capping bases in these team battles, ranked battles, you're still going to do really well. Puddahead was top, 1,542 base experience, so that is not too shabby at all. And again, you can see not a whole lot of damage done, right? We did a bit of damage here to a few of these ships. The Cleveland we hit with the torpedo there, but nothing significant. Again, I think it was about 11,000 damage that was dealt this battle. So there still is value in taking the caps. It's definitely worth it. We've talked about it in random battles as well. It is definitely worth it to go in there and cap. The caps are the objective. Very important. In terms of credits, I mean, 130,000 credits overall, 5,400 experience, like I said, so that is not too bad at all. And of course, it got Puddahead his victory, and he was able to proceed on in his ranked battles. Alright, so moving into the next clip, what had happened here was I was in a ranked battle, sitting in the TeamSpeak channel, and I can hear that some of the guys in TeamSpeak were doing a count-in for tier 9s. My ranked battle was going terribly. I had just died, so I jumped into port and queued up with them. Then someone happened to mention to me that, Thotgor, you should be recording this. So I looked and I wasn't, so I quickly started everything up, and that's basically where we're picking up right now. The battle has basically just started. I just got a few shots off it at Hindenburg, I believe, and yeah, so that's where we are now. In the battle, we've got myself, we've got Lich King, we have Death Scythe, we have Rebel, and we have Orvis. So all, I need to count that, all 5 of us, God, all 5 of us managed to get into the same battle on the same side, which was pretty awesome. And I was in my rune, so excellent. Now, the majority of the clan members did actually spawn down there in the south. You all know my feelings of the South on this map, so I wasn't going down there. I said no. No thank you. I noticed that Death Scythe was up here in his Iowa, so okay, and I've got this other battleship right off on the port side, so alright, I'm going to be supporting these guys. We're going to try and take B. That's what we're going to try and do. So immediately, I've got a Zumo off in the distance. You can see that we do have another German cruiser. I think it's an Admiral Hipper off in the distance as well. So I'm just engaging these guys as I can, but I'm also trying to maneuver around so that I'm not presenting large broadsides, or the broadsides that I am presenting aren't for long amounts of time. Unfortunately, yeah, I know I just mentioned this ship, but for whatever reason, I guess I didn't really see him or see the player, and had to turn out of it, and I am giving a nice broadside right now to the enemy ships off in the distance, but no one really takes advantage of it, so I get off easy on that one. The majority of the enemy ships back there in that ball that we see back there, the majority of them are actually focusing on Death Scythe. Death Scythe is bow on to the Izumo, the Hindenburg, and other enemy ships that are back there, trying to hold them back, basically, is what he's trying to do here. And it's hard. I mean, I've been in those situations before. I don't have an Iowa, but I've been in those situations before with some of my battleships, and it's a hard situation to be in. But I continue to put shots in the enemy ships that I can, and I'm doing some decent damage to these enemy ships as well, which is pretty great. I had to maneuver around here, right? I wasn't willing to stop like Dice Scythe and my other battleship player here. Wasn't willing to stop like that. There's too many big ships off in the distance that could easily, take me down to half health or even lower. So no, not going to stop, but I do have to maneuver around. I didn't want to go around the whole island here and leave Death Scythe hanging. So I'm trying to make as tight of a turn as I possibly can, get my guns looped back around so I can continue strafing these enemies. You can see torpedoes are on the way in. Unfortunately, some of those are going to hit Death Scythe, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, one of them hit him, but whatever. I mean, it was only one, and hopefully, he was able to repair that damage. So we're coming back in. My other Iowa is now gone. The torpedoes definitely took out that other friendly Iowa we had, so he's gone. So it's just Death Scythe and myself over here now at B. But it's at this point in time that Death Scythe is calling out in TeamSpeak, saying, how screwed he is. And I'm sort of looking at it, and I'm going, well, there's only the two of us up here. As soon as he goes down, I'm the only other ship that these guys are going to shoot at. I'm getting out of here, yeah, so that is now my new plan, is to run away. Now, while I'm running away, I am going to continue to put as many shots as I possibly can into the enemy ships and helping out Death Scythe. Death Scythe is trying to take out this Tirpitz. He's trying to take out the guns on that Tirpitz specifically to buy himself a little more time. So that's what I'm doing, and you can see that I did manage to get some critical damage there, but I don't think it was one of the main turrets. Now, while I am running away, I am still trying to maintain some sort of angle on my ship here, right, for incoming shots. I'm trying to avoid just sailing in a straight line south. You can see I'm actually headed east, and then I am going to be jostling my ship around a little here as well, just to dodge incoming shots and to mitigate any incoming damage as well. I'm kind of duking it out with the Hindenburg. It's the same Hindenburg from the beginning, and I really wanted to get rid of this Hindenburg. An update on my Hindenburg, actually, I have unlocked it. I have the experience, so I do have it unlocked now. I'm just waiting. I think I need 6 million more credits, and then I can purchase her. So that's all we're waiting on now, is the credits for the Hindenburg, and then we are going to sail her, and it's going to be amazing. Anyway, switching back over to the Tirpitz, I then noticed that the Izumo is on incredibly low health, so I decided to fire off a salvo at the Tirpitz. Figure hopefully if I can at least hit that Tirpitz, I'll probably do some pretty decent damage. Unfortunately, though, those shots that I launched, yeah, they hit the Izumo, but didn't actually do that much damage. That kind of sucks. Dodged some more incoming shots, was pretty fantastic. We still do have the Tirpitz, and I did fire off another salvo there at the Hindenburg. In the meantime, I'm still maneuvering, trying to get myself down to the south, believe it or not, to group up with my allies who are down there. Death Scythe has long since sunk, and it is only me up here in the northern part of the map for now anyway. But my main objective, like I said, is just to get out of this situation, try to get myself down to the south, group up with my allies down there, and then circle around obviously and take the fight back to the enemy. It's kind of working out. I'm still firing away at the Tirpitz. The Tirpitz is giving me an excellent broadside. I don't think that this Tirpitz player realizes just how much damage I can, a rune can start doing to the Tirpitz with the armor piercing. If you just give me a few minutes here, I am going to be doing 15k plus damage to you. And I know you're a battleship and you have lots of HP, but still, that's a good chunk of HP gone. So there was that. Now the Tirpitz is kind of moving out of my range. You can see that he is under attack from some of my ally destroyers over there, which is pretty fantastic. In fact, there goes the Tirpitz. Ally destroyer managed to sink the Tirpitz, so that's fantastic. And that is also, I think, the same destroyer that was up there who capped A, which is really what's saving us right now. It's that infamous A cap zone again coming into play here. So circling back around, I'm feeling pretty confident now. Now that the Tirpitz is gone, right, I can get a little closer, maybe take out the Suzumo, and you can see that I do have my ally destroyers coming up on the port side as well, just below the B cap zone. So this is leading me to be a lot more confident in that, yeah, I have more backup here. I can, start turning my ship around and start getting myself back into the fight here, back into B, see what we can do. So we do still have the Hindenburg. You can see there's a North Carolina back there as well. I believe the Admiral Hipper is still around. I mean, the enemies have only lost 3 ships now. They just lost a 3rd ship. So we're even for lost ships at this point in time. 2 battleships and 2 cruisers, actually, both teams. So that's interesting. There's the Admiral Hipper there, actually, but again, it's not a great angle. With the Admiral Hipper sailing away like that, my shots will land. I'll probably hit the Admiral Hipper, but it's probably not going to do a whole lot of damage. I'm probably just going to bounce some shells off him. But whatever, I had the shot, so I take the shot. The Hindenburg pops up again, and I'm going to just continue to pump away at this Hindenburg. For whatever reason, I don't have a Hindenburg, so I try to kill every Hindenburg I see because I want one so bad, and they have one and I don't, so I'm going to take that away. And I know, I know, it's a little childish, but playing games is a little childish too, isn't it? So shots go in on the Hindenburg, do a bit of damage there. I mean, it was only 1 hit, but still, it was better than nothing. So the Hindenburg, the Hindenburg is on about half health now. Again, I'm getting closer to my allies, so this is great. The Hindenburg has a salvo coming out to me, so I'm trying to turn into it to avoid this whole thing, because I really didn't want to have to deal with all that damage, and luckily, the shot that the Hindenburg fired at me wasn't aimed too great, and it did closely miss me. Now, coming under attack from enemy destroyers. Now, I thought at this point in time it was all over. 3 torpedoes, I thought I'm going to eat them all and it's done. Yeah, only took 1, not too bad. Able to repair the damage easily enough. I've got my repair ability on a 2-minute cooldown right now, so hopefully, once that's done, we'll be able to repair some of this damage. So, okay, alright. Now, I do see the destroyer right there. There he is. He popped up right in front of me. I know that this player is waiting for me to come around that little island there, and then he's going to torp me. I wasn't having any of this. None of that, I said. So I can see on the lead indicator that it is indicating that the destroyer is going to be coming out from around the island, but now, yeah, it's turned back. So I'm going to fire my torpedoes anyway, just in case the player does decide to come back out around the island. Hopefully my torpedoes will be there to give him a nice surprise. And again, I wasn't going past this island, because I know as soon as I do, that destroyer is going to launch torpedoes at me and attempt to take me down. Then I catch a glimpse of the destroyer, and you can see that the destroyer is now retreating, basically, moving out of the zone, right? You can see that the engines, a brief second we saw them there, the engines were gone at that moment at least, so the player is hurting a little. So we're circling our ship right back around. We're going to get ourselves now into the B cap and start capping this this zone here. You can see in the meantime, I mean, the enemies did get a ship up there to A, and they did cap A, so that infamous A cap zone is coming into play again here. So once again, it is coming all down to this critical center point on islands of ice. So we caught a quick glimpse of some of the enemy ships that were not behind this island, and one of them, I'm not sure what it was, but one of them did look to be on pretty low health, but I just couldn't get any shots off at him. Wasn't able to get those lined up, but whatever. We can see more enemy ships coming around, and I was thinking, you can see I'm slowing my speed down. I was thinking the battleship, if the battleship would have came around, first, I would have killed the battleship and then waited for the Hindenburg here. But with the Hindenburg coming around first, I'm not going to let this Hindenburg find me just sitting still broadside to him. So immediately I put it back to full speed. I launch a salvo off the Hindenburg. You can see exactly what I was talking about in terms of the Admiral Hipper and angling. I mean, the Hindenburg, same sort of armor and angling situation there. The Hindenburg was at a brief angle or a little angle. My 8 shots hit him, did no damage. They all bounced. So angling really has a benefit here. I do have my armor piercing loaded, and I considered loading the high explosive, but I mean the destroyer was almost dead anyway, and I've got great targets around for armor piercing. I didn't bother with it, but we can see torpedoes on the way. So I see these torpedoes, so I'm cutting my throttle and I'm turning hard to starboard because there's no way that I'm going to let these torpedoes hit me. Didn't want it to happen. And I'm really focused on the enemies off to the starboard side, right? They're all on really low health. I really wanted to take one down, at least get myself a kill this battle, is what I was trying to do. But, you know, it just wasn't meant to be, in terms of a kill anyway. So I've got the Hindenburg here. The Hindenburg is getting within my torpedo range, and I was considering launching torpedoes at the Hindenburg. Now I see the Hindenburg torpedoes on the way out for me, and suddenly realize that I'm not going to be able to turn out of these torpedoes in time. I have to splice them. So I turn into the torpedoes, go bow onto these guys, and I'm just going to splice these torpedoes, and that's probably going to be the safest thing I can do here. We still have the Hindenburg though on the other side of the island, and I've got my friendly Hindenburg here as well. My friendly Hindenburg is moving forward. I knew this before I launched my torpedoes, and very important that you know these things before you launch your torpedoes. So those torpedoes are on the way for the enemy Hindenburg. That's when Lynch comes up and says, "Wow, Thotgor, that's a lot of torpedoes," and I see all of this, and it's like, oh god. So I've got one torpedo. I'm going to take a torpedo. Do I actually? Oh, and we won. Yes. Not too shabby at all. I was pretty sure that that torpedo was going to kill me, but no. Nope, never registered as a kill. I did get the dreadnought, so that's not too bad. I finished about middle of the pack here, which was decent. I mean, again, I didn't have any kills or anything like that, but I did deal out a decent amount of damage, which wasn't too bad at all. You can see 24,000 damage to the Tirpitz and 25,000 damage to the Hindenburg. So just those two ships alone, you know, I'm over 50,000 damage. So that's pretty good. I do walk away with 39,000 credits. Again, you know, it wasn't the best battle, so I'm not going to earn a bunch of credits for it, but I do walk away with a healthy amount of experience. Returning to port, I found out that the battle, I was playing the ranked battle I thought was going so terribly, somehow my team managed to win it, so that was a nice little surprise as well. Anyway, that is today's video. I do hope you guys enjoy it. Leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Hit the like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.